All right, brother. We are live. How you doing, dude?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Clothier.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. Guys, as you're coming on, do me a favor and come into the comment section and say hello. You guys know the drill. We've done this now several times. Um, Give us a little love there on the heart button and the thumbs up. That will cue Facebook. As in addition to your comments, will cue Facebook to make sure that they alert everybody that we are live. And the algorithm will pick it up and kind of start rolling with it, which is really, really important to me. Not the least of which is I want you to come in here and say hello to my guest here for the next 30, 45, maybe even 60 minutes, Mr. Bedros Keuilian. How you doing? Everything good?
Yes, sir. Doing well. We are in massive pivot mode, and no better time to talk about that than today.
Amen. That's the reason why I wanted you here, dude, is because obviously you and I have been friends kind of for basically the last year or so. I pay really close attention to what you're doing online. Love it. Love, I have nothing to do with the fitness industry, but overall, I love, you as a CEO, you as a leader, the way you inspire your tribe, the message that you deliver. Your book, Man Up, is an amazing book. And so I just want to kind of, again, give everybody a taste of you and really kind of get down into the weeds here, what people should be doing, what it takes to be a leader right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, first of all, let me tell you this, dude. Everyone thinks that leadership, building up to this, about 3 weeks ago, everybody was talking about leadership and leading from the front and leaders eat last and all. But I'll tell you, you get to see who's an imposter and who the real deal is very quickly when they realize leadership is not a title, it's an action. And you're either doing it right now or you're dying quickly.
Man, ain't that the truth, right? It's so funny. I've mentioned this a couple times, but Warren Buffett saying that you get to see real quick when the tide rolls out who's swimming naked. You're clearly seeing that. There's basically two camps right now. I don't know if you agree with this, but I think you do. There's basically two camps, right? You got the people that are retreating, pulling back, retracting, doing this kind of thing, not stepping out in front. They're kind of maybe in their own minds, they believe that's leadership. And then you got the other people that are stepping out in front of it saying, hey, get behind me, follow me. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. I'm going to demonstrate it to you every single day. You're either one or the other. And I think you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side right now.
Yeah, you have to. And if it looks like people are see what happens, that's the most dangerous place to be, because what they don't realize is the tsunami is coming. And if you're thinking that I'm going to wait and see, and in a couple of weeks we'll be back at business as usual, everything's going to be fine, everything's not going to be fine. This economic disaster that's happening right now because of COVID-19 is going to be slowed down because of the financial relief that the government's giving us. But all that's doing is pushing it down the road. In other words, right now, what the pain and pinch you're going to feel, what you were supposed to feel maybe this month, next month, and the month after, you might feel 6 months from now, but you will see that wave hitting. And people who think that they're going to wait and see instead of actually leaning towards action and pivoting and finding a new way to make money, reinventing their business, they're going to suffer big time, Kent.
Amen, brother. Amen. Well, let's take a step back because I want everybody to kind of, you crushed at my live event. Like I said, we've had the opportunity to get to know each other. I have a ton of respect for you. I would love for you to kind of spend the next few minutes kind of telling you a little bit about your story, kind of what you've accomplished, because it's amazing, brother, and it's truly, truly inspiring.
Yeah, man. So I've got a very different perspective. Like when you talk about quarantine and lockdown and what's supposed to be happening right now, like people need to realize you're not on quarantine. You're not on lockdown. I come from the Soviet Union. I was 6 years old when we escaped. I remember when my dad was plotting for us to escape in 1980, and he bribed the communist government, the KGB got word of it, and they came into our house and they put us on a real lockdown. Like we were like leaning against the walls in the hallway as they inspected the whole house, making sure that my dad wasn't taking any steps to escape. Now, obviously we were, but my dad was doing it in the right way, and we hadn't packed bags or anything. It was going to be like pack and leave when we were ready to do it. Otherwise, they would have taken my dad out to Siberia and killed him, and it would have been the end of it. That's just how it is in the communist country, period. And so I've seen that country go into lockdown. I've seen and and so when my wife and kids were going to the grocery store recently and they're like, man, the aisle where the toilet paper is supposed to be is empty. I'm like, let me tell you something. Now imagine every aisle that way, and then imagine snow on the ground, and imagine the building being wrapped around with people waiting in coats to get in and buy something. Like that's a lockdown. That's a quarantine. And I share that because Right now, Tony Robbins has been talking about the winter is coming for the last 2 or 3 years. He wrote the book Unshakable about it. He interviewed financial people, and every single one of them said this thing is coming. Now, no one was able to predict, well, other than Bill Gates, that it could come in the way of a virus, right? We saw it happen in 2001 with the terrorist attack. We saw it happen with the stock market crash and the economy went down. We saw it happen in 2008 with the housing market crash. The economy went down. But in all three of those economic crashes, whether it was terrorist attack, stock market, or housing market, you still had a way of life. And I think that's the big difference here. You still had a way of life. You can go to You take your stress out in a gym. You can go watch a movie and disconnect at a movie theater. You can go walk through the mall. All of a sudden now, you can't do any of that. This is the real deal. Like, you are stuck at home in your own thoughts, listening to the media, who, by the way, is there to feed you fear and uncertainty. That is their job, because good news does not keep people attached to their televisions to sell ad space. Bad news does. You're wired that way for fear. And so because of that, people are consuming fear and doubt. They're living in a state of uncertainty. And whether you have a job or a career and you lost it, or you're about to lose it, or you have a business and all of a sudden you find your business is either shut down or it's not making sales, you better figure out where the money is, because money never disappears when the economy crashes. You know this. Money just exchanges hands. And all we have to do is figure out who has the money now and what new problems do they have because of this disaster that we can solve. And I'll give you a great example. We've got about 800 franchise locations of Fit Body Bootcamp. I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp. In the US, we've got about 800 locations and growing. And within 48 hours, 2.5 weeks ago, we went from in-person group training programs to shutting down the doors because we had to, and pivoted in 48 hours to online coaching. Not only did we keep and retain the clients that we were serving in person by going online and using Zoom and Facebook groups and follow along workouts and nutrition coaching online and all the types of software and stuff, and checking in and texting them videos and pictures, engaging with them. But we also went ahead further and we said, all right, what is the new problem people are having? No one can work out anywhere. So people need to still work out. They need to work out at home. No one's solving that problem. F45 isn't, Orange Theory isn't. They just went down and canceled memberships. I said, we're not going to do that as Fit Body Bootcamp. These people need to work out and have a high metabolism, have a high immune system, lower their stress. They need to have community and be connected while they are on quarantine. And so we're going to create that environment, and we're going to steal. So we created a 28-day Stronger Together at-home challenge in that 48-hour period. And we started getting their clients to sign up to our online coaching program. And my franchise locations are growing because the new problem is people need to work out. They're stuck at home. So I created the solution for it. My franchisees deployed it. And we are now growing and taking their clients. So when our doors open, we will have more clients than we had when our doors closed. And that's the pivot. That's the finding the new problem and solving it in exchange for money that I don't see enough people doing right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, again, and we kind of touched on it at the beginning here. I think that you see guys like yourself, you see others that are out there that they are pivoting. They quickly understand. I mean, this is a war. I mean, it is a you are fighting for your business. You're fighting for your customers. You're fighting for the attention. You're fighting for what you've worked so hard to create. Why would you approach this like this is a vacation? Like this is, like this, like you're a victim, like there's somehow out of your control. Clearly, we're all, right. This is a life-changing event. It's happened to everybody, but that does not mean that transactions are not still happening. And to your point, there's still an opportunity to solve real problems for people.
Sure. Like, dude, people have, I'll give you a great example. You've got kids. I've got kids. Their schools are out, right? We both live in Southern California. And so my son was taking skate lessons from a young man here who's a professional skater in town. And this young man was like, he's 24 years old. He had a good customer base, doing basically one-on-one skate lessons and group skate lessons at a local skate park. And he stopped teaching my kid, and we were sending him to him twice a week. And I'm like, dude, my son needs you more than ever. He goes, yeah, but social distancing. I'm like, listen, turn on Zoom. We're going to keep paying you the $45 per session that you train with him. Turn on Zoom, show him the tricks step by step, and then he's going to do it. And then you watch him the right way using Zoom, and then you give him feedback, and then we'll keep paying you. He'll keep getting better, because I don't want my son sitting indoors right now when school's out. He's like, brilliant. So he pivoted his business. So anyone that thinks that their business is not pivotable is out of their mind. They're just bananas. And if they think, and by the way, I voted for Trump. I don't care what someone voted for, what their political, I voted for Trump. But anyone that thinks that our president right now, who is a wartime president, anyone who thinks our president was telling the truth, whether he meant to or not, about we're going to be back in business by April 12th for Easter, dude, we're not going to be back in regular business, if ever. Like, you might just be seeing a new normal moving forward with how this thing is affecting the economy. So people taking that wait and see approach, like, I'll just wait and see and we'll get back to normal. You are going to be hit by such a tsunami that you won't know what happened. So you better pivot. Here's another example. My dentist, he had reached out to me because every time I go see him, Kent, he's like, hey, business advice, some ideas, and he's a really good dentist. He teaches other dentists how to do their gig. And so he reaches out to me. He's like, well, I follow you on social media. I see you telling people to pivot to online this and online that and some kind of remote that. What could I do as a dentist? Nobody wants to come see me. No one wants me near their mouth. I'm like, hey, doc, you told me that you were looking to invest in homes and you were putting money aside to buy rental properties, right? He goes, yeah. I go, now's the time that you stop being a dentist and you become an investor in homes and real estate, because now is the time to buy for pennies on the dollar. I go, stop looking at your business, your career this way. Now you're just an investor who happens to be a dentist. And he goes, holy shit, what a revelation. That's the thing that people need right now, is you got to stop thinking linear and start getting creative in the way you think.
So let's go down that for a second. So, we've got a lot of entrepreneurs that are watching here. How do you, if you're sitting there and you're coaching your franchisees, or you're coaching, I know you have a lot of coaching students that aren't even franchisees, you're coaching these business owners, how are you walking them through the process, just like you did with your dentist, of looking outside, right? I mean, there's got to be some things, some exercises, some things that you're trying to wake up their the opportunities for them.
Yeah. So the first thing I do is I go, hey, give yourself outside eyes, which means go pretend like you're in a helicopter looking at your own life. What new problems do you have in your own life? I said, when I did this for myself, I was like, all right, I've got a son who's 14 and a daughter who's 12 who are now stuck at home. And I still have money. Thankfully, I pivoted fast. My franchisees continue to pay their royalties to me because I helped them pivot. So I still have money, thankfully, right? So, but my new problems are, I don't want my wife to go grocery shopping anymore. So one, who's going to go grocery shopping for us? Someone needs to solve that problem for us. I've got a son and a daughter that are at home, and they're going to start doing at-home schooling. But who else is going to keep them occupied? What could I do for them to get some kind of knowledge, wisdom, activity? Who's going to help them, coach them through some kind of Zoom-based training, online remote-based training? So I've got new problems. I need my car oil changed, and my wife needs a new windshield wiper. It's flopping around on her Land Rover, because you know how that is. And when all of a sudden every mechanic shop shuts, the windshield wipers take a shit. Some mechanic should be reaching out to every affluent person, because you can just follow them on social media. Like, show me everyone in San Diego who's rich, and I'm going to find Kent Clothier and be like, hey, Kent, does your car need to be washed? Do you need an oil change? Is your windshield wiper flopping around? Can I come change it for you at your house? Like, those are all new problems that have been developed that people need to then serve us and then take our money for. And so I said, the exercise is always, you use outside eyes, look into your life. What are the problems that I have? Okay, that means others have those problems as well. Can I solve some of those? Yes, I can. Then I better start looking for those people and start solving it. But instead, we look from internal. We just go, oh my God, how am I going to make money to get there? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you broke up right on the last part. Say the last sentence one more time, Bedros. You broke up right now.
Yeah, I was saying really that most people just sit there internally and go, how am I going to make money? Thinking somehow the idea is going to pop, not realizing that they need to look at themselves with outside eyes and literally coach yourself. Be your own coach.
Right. Well, I love the idea of literally, if you just sat down and started writing out, what are the new challenges in my life? It's funny you said that, because I just had that conversation with my wife yesterday. I was like, you cannot go grocery shopping anymore. I don't care about anything else. You're not stepping foot in a grocery store, because I don't want anything. I mean, we've done a really good job of keeping our house quarantined off, and I'm just not willing to take that risk right now. We've got some cases that are local, and I just don't want that going on. But to your point, now that's a pain point, right?
Right.
I mean, I love that. There are so many of these going on. And, oh, by the way, guys, there are only tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in your community that are now looking for different opportunities, whether virtual or whatever. I mean, there are still, people need to transact. People need to make money. Commerce still has to happen. And by the way, commerce is still going to happen.
But by the way, to that point, you know, you being in real estate, especially being a real estate investor, you'll appreciate this. In Dana Point, there's a beautiful community called Strand Beach. There's about 230, 240 homes right on the water. Beautiful, beautiful homes. And the guy who's showing us homes right now, there's this one home that we're looking at. It started off at 16 million, went down to 13. And of course, 2 weeks ago, not 2 weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, he texts my wife and he says, hey, it's at $8 million now. The address is 1 Oceanfront, Strand Beach. It's at $8 million. And I'm like, man, it's been so long. He goes, no worries. I'll give you guys a virtual tour. And he went there and gave us a virtual tour, and the business is still moving forward. Now, I'm certainly not going to close the deal based off a virtual tour and a one-time tour that I took maybe a few months ago, but he's moving us closer to closing the deal so that when this whole scare is over, I can go there, look at it, and hopefully pick it up for whatever, $6-7 million instead of the 12 or 13. He could have just sat there and said, well, I'll tell you what, when this thing is over, I can walk you through. But the dude is thinking forwardly because he knows this is the new economy we're in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like we said at the beginning, I mean, there's two camps. Either you're stepping out in front, leaning in, making things happen, or you are retreating. And again, hopefully anybody that's on this, the whole entire point of this entire online summit here is to surround yourself with people and give you enough information where you're kind of hearing the same thing over and over and over. You've got to lean into these things. You've got to figure out what the next opportunities are. You've got to keep your wits about you, quite frankly. You've got to, don't panic. Don't sit there and play into the fear game. Just get your shit together and then slowly start making the moves that are necessary. And maybe not even slowly, but to make the moves. Whatever you do, do not get out of the game, right?
Oh, dude, you nailed it. You nailed it. Because can I tell you something? I bet if we went and asked everyone who's sitting in panic and fear about this thing, like, hey, do you know what you should be doing? Yeah, I should be looking for opportunities. I should be taking some move, no matter how small it is today. Then why aren't you doing it? And the answer is going to be fear, doubt, uncertainty, the what ifs. And so the reality is everyone knows the answer, what they should do. Just like whenever I meet people and they go, well, I should probably be working out. I should probably be eating right, because they'll see me on an airplane. I'm in pretty good shape. So the conversation always starts off with, what do you do? And I always tell them that fitness, right? They go, well, I should eat right. I go, well, do you know how to eat right? They go, yeah, I know I should cut the carbs and cut the fat and eat more frequently, smaller meals. So everyone knows what to do. They just need someone to. And so my challenge to everyone watching this right now, you know what to do. Be accountable to your wife, your kids, your future, your legacy. Because 3 years from now, what if you sit there and you go, man, I knew what to do, but I just sat there in inaction instead of taking baby steps towards an action because I was so afraid of the what ifs.
Well, and then the other con job that people pull with themselves is, well, it seems kind of opportunistic. And look, at the bottom line is, you're the CEO of your own life. You have to, I mean, to your point, you're accountable to your family, your friends, your community, everybody around you, to do it and take advantage of every opportunity you can. Nobody wished any of this distress on anybody else, but do not kid yourself for a moment. There is opportunity here, and there's an opportunity for, whether it's a pivot, whether it's a wholesale change, whatever it is, there's an opportunity here for you to improve your life, not just survive.
Yeah. You know what, dude? And you make a good point about that, because anyone who uses that argument of it's opportunistic, I'm going to come to them and say, well, you're a selfish motherfucker. And here's why. The most selfish thing you can do right now is to have a solution to a problem that other people are experiencing and not share it with them during the time they need it most. Right?
Amen.
Wow.
I mean, you're exactly right. You have a responsibility.
Yeah.
So, all right. So real quick, I'm going to go over here and engage over here on Facebook for a second. So guys, as you guys are all on here, everybody that goes into the comments and lets me know what the name of Bedros' company that he founded, it's got 800 locations around the world. Everybody that types it in there, I got a prize for you. I'm going to give away some REWW swag for everybody that goes in there and makes the comment correctly. So Bedros, do me a favor. So let's go back. I want to talk about that 48-hour period where you pivoted, right? Because I mean, that is so, so powerful. Kind of walk me through how that all played out and how you did that, right? It's basically like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you kind of had that, like everybody does, that little oh shit moment. Like, all right, this is what we got to do. Let's go, right? Walk me through that.
All right, so it's funny that you say that, because I got to give credit to having a strong team and leadership. Like, everyone sees on the front end, like I was on Fox News last week talking about that pivot, and everyone's like, hey, great job, Bedros. But the reality is I've got team members, 7 team members that are showing up every day here during quarantine. I'm at my corporate office. All of our team members, 40 some odd people, are working from home. We chose not to fire anyone. We did do a pay cut, a 20% pay cut across the whole thing. And I said, hey, I'm not gonna take a paycheck right now until further notice. And it's to preserve capital, only because I don't know what's coming. But I didn't want to have a knee-jerk reaction and fire people and bring down morale of my team and then create like this fear. What if I'm next? So that's it. I'm not firing anyone. You are going to all work from home because none of us need to get sick, but the 7 of you leaders need to show up. And these leaders, what we did was, I was like, look, we see what happened in China. We see what happened in Italy. There's going to be a lockdown coming, which means gyms are not going to be open. So which one of you is going to be in charge of creating the follow-along workout videos? Like, I knew we needed follow-along workout videos. I knew that we needed to bring our franchisees online as quickly as possible so that they don't fire their staff and they can keep making money. And if my franchisees and their staff are making money, then they're going to keep paying us their franchise fees. I'm going to be very honest with you, and that's the only way I know how to be. Only 2 franchisees, knock on wood, have reached out to us and says, can you stop my franchise fees? And I was like, are you still making money? Because I could log into your software and see that you're making money. They go, yeah. I go, then no, I'm not going to stop your franchise fees, but thank you for asking. And that's the truth out of 800. So I share this with you because I was able to delegate workout videos. We also need mindset and nutrition, because that's a big part of what we do at Fit Body Bootcamp locations. Keep people in a positive state of mind and then make them focus on their nutrition, because you cannot out-train a bad diet, especially if you're on quarantine and your activity level has come down. So we said, all right, we want people to go from 1 workout a day to 2 workouts a day. So it was 2 follow-along workouts a day that they had to film. And so we filmed 30 of them in a 5-day period, but we filmed the first 6 in the 24-hour period. So in day 1 of 48 hours, the first 24 hours, we had already shut down all the locations because we saw it coming from LA. And we said, hey, just do it across the board. That's our strong recommendation as the CEO and as a corporate office. Moved everyone to online coaching. Everyone get a Zoom account. Everyone get a Facebook account. We had one of our leaders teach them how to use Zoom and Facebook Live private groups. All right, so now we did that. So now you can do coaching of people. So, hey, do this follow-along workout, and then all of us are going to get on a Zoom like this and talk about how was the workout, how did it go, did it hurt your knee, could have gone harder, etc. Coach people along, and then share the nutrition videos on a daily basis, mindset and motivation videos. And then we realized, if this lockdown goes longer, what else are we going to need? We're going to need greater levels of engagement and accountability. So, all right, 2 of you go out and find a piece of software that's going to help us hold Kent accountable to his workouts. Did he do it? Yes. How did he like it? What are the results? What did he eat as far as tracking your nutrition and macros? So we found a software called Trainerize. We got them on board within that 24-hour period. And in 48 hours, we made the pivot. But in the week of that 48 hours, which was 2.5 weeks ago, we put everything in place. And then I went from doing literally a monthly live Facebook video to my franchisees in our private Facebook group to doing one 3 times a week. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing a live Facebook video to our franchisees. I go, guys, here's what we're doing next. And here's you need to communicate, you need to be decisive, you need to problem solve. Lead, communicate, be decisive, problem solve. Those are the 4 things I'm asking my franchisees to do with their staff and their clients while I'm doing it with my staff. Lead, communicate, be decisive, make a decision, make it fast, and problem solve.
Got it. Make a decision, problem solve.
When you make a decision, a new problem is going to be created. You go, oh my God, I'm using Zoom, but the internet's choppy. What do I do? And we're going to go, since you have choppy internet, don't do follow along workouts live, just do the pre-recorded ones that we gave you. So when you make a decision, it will solve one problem, but it will create a new problem. That's okay. Problem solve, keep problem solving. Like, do not stop until you're dead. Then you have my permission to stop. And so I went to communicating with them 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I changed my leadership, my L10 meetings. Do you follow EOS?
Yeah.
Okay. Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Traction, yep, got
it. Our L10 meetings, level 10 meetings every Tuesday at 11 o'clock. We went from weekly level 10 meetings to 2 level 10 meetings a day now for the last 2.5 weeks. We just had one about an hour ago. And these level 10 meetings are, what are the new problems that we've created or that our franchises are finding? How can we solve them? And then we literally create the solution and then come back. So we do a 8 o'clock and a 3 o'clock, 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. level 10 meeting, and then communicate that to our franchisees 3 times a week. And it's been an amazing, by the way, and then we go and we do the Ritz-Carlton thing. I've got employees now. We're not onboarding new franchises. No one's about to sign a 7-year franchise agreement with me right now in this moment. Right. But I've got an onboarding team that I've chosen to keep on board. So I said, hey, franchisees, you guys need to apply for the SBA 7A loans. You guys need to apply for the payroll protection plan. But you guys are super busy. You got a lot going on. My team members are going to call you guys up. We're going to get online. We're going to sign up for you. We're just going to ask you for your social, your bank account, doing the Ritz-Carlton service, and getting my franchisees the SBA loans faster for them. So would they ever decide to stop their royalties to me when I'm going above and beyond in service, where my competitors, Orange Theory and F45, decided that they're just going to shut down the whole business, cancel all memberships, let clients go figure it out on their own, let the staff go figure it out and get unemployment, and franchisees are like, what the hell did we do? And so that was the difference. In 48 hours, we pivot, but the week of the pivot, we put so many things in place, created a new process of 2 level 10 meetings a day, three live calls like this with our franchisees. And we figured out very quickly, we need to lead, communicate, be decisive, and keep problem solving until this thing ends.
I love that, brother. Guys, over in the comments, if you're digging this, let us know here. Give me a hell yeah. And also go in the comments and outline the 4. I want to make sure everybody's paying attention. The 4 things that Bedros just talked about. If it's, I mean, I think those are key leadership things that everybody should be really trying to implement right now, right? And I'm not going to give them to you. I almost said them. But so, Bedros, let's shift gears for a second, right? I mean, these are challenging times, but I also want to talk about, you have taken it upon yourself to really kind of step out in front, not only during these times, but out in front, the public persona, which is something you didn't have to do. You could have easily just been the CEO of a franchise and, the franchisor and run a very large company and never been a public figure at all. What's pushing you to try to inspire the people? Why'd you write the book, Man Up? Let's just start there.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. So I've always been one of those people that likes to serve. And I'll give you a great example. Like, I was a fat kid throughout high school. And the only reason I got in shape, Kent, was because there was a girl named Nakaya that I wanted to take to the prom the senior year of high school. And a friend of mine who was on the high school football team said, man, you're a fat kid. And unless you're not going to, go to the prom with you. So the summer of senior year, he taught me how to work out and eat right. I came back weighing 30 pounds less. I was in great shape. I still didn't have the confidence to ask her out. So I never asked Nakaya to the prom, never made it to the prom. But my entire trajectory of life changed because all I wanted to do was be a personal trainer and wake up at 3:30 in the morning, train my first client at 4:30 in the morning, train clients all day long in the gym. I just wanted to make enough money to live. And that was it. I wanted to serve people and give them the results that I got. Not so much the physical and health results, but the confidence, self-esteem, self-image improvements that I got. So I guess it's in my DNA to be a servant, to just want to help people. And so as I figured out how difficult it was launching a franchise, dealing with the Federal Trade Commission, dealing with the different Federal Trade Commissions of different countries as we went international, I was like, holy crap, you could be a business owner and just be a marketer and be a 1 or 2 person show. But if you're going to national brand, like, there's a new level of complexity that comes with that. And with that complexity, it demands extreme leadership, like a high level of leadership. And leadership, again, the core of leadership is decisiveness and communication and vision. You must have a clear vision. You must communicate that vision to your people. And then that vision, as you go to execute, you're going to have problems. You better make decisions and pivot as you go. And those skill sets were not factory installed for me. And so Fit Body Bootcamp in 2012 and 13 was almost on its deathbed. I was $640,000 in debt. I had no idea how to run a franchise. I hated my employees. I hated my franchisees. And I only had like 118 of them at the time. And I was just done. I was done with it. until I had the aha moment that my employees weren't the problem, that my franchisees weren't the problem. I was the problem. I was a poor leader, poor communicator, indecisive. And so I literally spent the next couple of years going through every book on leadership, improvement, the therapist for 16 months. Every Monday, went to Dr. Kevin Downing in Brea and went through my old shit because I had gone through a lot of abuse as a kid, and I carried that pattern with me, and I would shut down when I was supposed to lead. Like a leader is supposed to step up, not shut down when it's time to lead. And so I figured out all my problems, fixed it, and I said, well, just like I figured out my problems when I was a fat kid and then wanted to help others, now I figured out how to lead and grow a business, an empire. I want to help other people never experience the anxiety, the fear, the debt, the panic attacks that I was having. And so I wrote the book, Man Up, because I literally told myself, like, Bedros, you better man up and become the leader that Fit Body Bootcamp needs, or you will fail. Your wife might divorce you, and you will never be known for anything. And that was the greatest fear I had, because my father brought us to the United States, risked his life so that, son, you could become something, right? Like, he came in here when he was in his 40s, and he bought a house and he bought another rental property. My dad became something. What a shame that his youngest couldn't become anything because he failed because of leadership. So I felt so much debt to my dad to having to perform that, again, I went and I did it. And then I wrote the book, Man Up, because it was man up, become the leader that you're supposed to be, and leave the legacy that you're supposed to leave behind. Like, we're supposed to leave the people and this planet better than we found it. I really believe that to my core. And so I just do that through coaching, through books, through free content, whatever it takes. I will leave this planet better than I found it. And in the process, the world repays me with a lot of money that I give my family experiences with, and I'm gonna leave legacy wealth behind for my kids and their kids and their kids.
Dude, I love that. I love that. I love the, I mean, you know, you and I have that commonality. I mean, we spend enough time together where we clearly understand what the common thread is between us. And I mean, you're just hitting the nail on the head for me, man. It's so powerful to know that what you're here to do is create impact, right? You're here to make sure that that's it. I mean, that's a life well lived.
Holy smokes, man. Because at the end of the day, once you have your life expenses covered, what else are you looking for in life? You're looking for some sense of significance, to be a part of something. Now more than ever, we have the opportunity through social media, through podcasting, through YouTube, through just getting on a Zoom call like this and being able to serve your tribe. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Holy smokes.
100%, dude. Let's talk about the project here for a second, because it's something that I know that also you're very, very passionate about, which is, it's kind of like the next level as you're going through this journey. And I mean, you're effectively documenting this journey, you know, all along the way, whether it's through your podcast, through your books, through your speeches, and on social media. And obviously a lot of people are paying attention. Let's talk about the project here for a second.
Yeah. The best way to do the project is a 75-hour mentally, emotionally, and physically demanding, taxing evolution experience for men. And here's how it all started. Part of manning up, in my book, Man Up, I talk about how I decided to start putting myself out of my comfort zone, because every book I read was step out of your comfort zone, step out of your comfort zone. You want to level up, step out of your comfort zone. I'm like, how do I do this? So the first thing I decided to do, I was going to train for 6 weeks and run the San Diego Marathon. And so I figured, what the hell? I'm going to train for 6 weeks, run the San Diego Marathon. That was way out of my comfort zone, since I've never run a marathon, or never even come close to running a marathon. I did that. And Kent, I got to tell you, after finishing that marathon, it was painful. I felt so proud of myself. I saw the impact in my marriage in a positive way, with my kids, with my business, with my everything, my mindset. So I took on another challenge. Then I'm going to train for 6 weeks and get in the cage and fight with an MMA guy. And I trained me. It was awful. It was horrible. And so I talk about this in my book, Man Up. And then I was afraid of heights. So I hired a guy and I said, hey, we're going to go out to Joshua Tree 3 times a week, and you're going to train me for 6 weeks. And I want to go as high as I can in 6 weeks. He goes, check, got it. And just to give you an idea, day one, I went up just a bit, and then I panicked and I froze. And he goes, Bedros, are you okay? I go, no, I want to come down, Mike. He goes, what do you mean you want to come down? You just started. I go, I want to come down. I've gone high enough. And then he reached up and he touched my foot and he goes, Bedros, you're right here. You're like 6 feet off the ground. Like, that's how embarrassing it was. But once I overcame my fear after those 6 weeks of the heights, it was amazing. Again, relationship gets better, money gets better, mindset gets better. I get an even better physical shape. And so I realized when you push yourself through adversity and through pain and suffering, you discover your greatest self. Like, you become your greatest self. And so knowing that, I was like, so I talk about it in my book, and I said, hey, if you're yourself through a ton of suffering and adversity, and you will discover your best self if you choose to stick with it. So all these people who read my book reached out to me. They're like, hey, you got to put something together to help us go through this. I don't know how to make you suffer. I know how to make myself suffer. I don't know how to make you suffer. Well, all of a sudden, a guy who's a SWAT sniper in Idaho reads my book, and he goes, hey, I want to come and work for you. I go, you're on a SWAT team. How can I help you? I don't know anything about cops. He goes, no, I want to come work for you. We got to do something together. Great, come on out. He moves his family out. A friend of mine who's a Navy SEAL says, I'm tired of deploying for the CIA. He's done 40 deployments for the CIA. Ray Care, here's the bearded, angry guy who you'll see me post pictures of. And he goes, I've done 40 missions with the CIA now as a SEAL. And I'm like the oldest guy there. I'm gonna die one of these days, and my family's gonna regret it. I go, Ray, do you think you can run a 75-hour experience? He goes, yes. I go, come talk to the SWAT guy. To New York. He's a Marine, and he's like, I want to live in California and run my gyms because you've taught me how to do this remotely. So he's in California. We're working out together, and I'm like, hey, would you want to be part of the cadre of running this thing called this project that I'm creating? He goes, what is it up? I go, I don't know, but it'll be about 3 days, and I need the three of you to put people through like hand-to-hand combat and weapons training and suffering, and then I'm going to teach them the mindset and entrepreneurial stuff. Sure. So before you know it, the cadre was created. Since I kept calling it this project, the name stuck, the project, and it's $12,000 per guy. Usually it's for males, entrepreneur, married with families, because that's who I was when I was suffering in silence. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but when men are under pressure, we never talk about it. We don't go, so Kent, let's go and talk about this over a glass of wine.
Right.
We do that really well. My wife does that with her friends really well. I wish I had that ability. Instead, we talk about shallow, superficial stuff, and then we suffer in silence. To break these guys down, 2 guys at a time for $12,000 a piece. And the Navy SEAL, the Marine, the SWAT guy are going to run the experience, fatigue them, tire them, beat them down, and then I'm going to go into their head and rewire them, along with my therapist who taught me all these cool little tricks to help help them unfuck themselves. And so now we focus on the 4 F-bombs: family, fitness, finance, and faith. And the guys who don't quit this thing and graduate, we call them modern day knights. And it's what took me about 4 to 5 years to level up into a leader, a better father, husband, entrepreneur. We can accomplish in 75 hours now. It's bananas.
Dude, I think that's so freaking cool. I think it's amazing. I think it's super cool. And I don't know if you knew who actually went on before you today, but think about, basically I had Steve Weatherford and Jesse Itzler were the 2 guys that went on. And now here's 3 people in a row that are all tougher talk about that you got to push yourself, through these physical things to realize the best version of yourself. I mean, I think it's talk about kind of hitting a common theme from high achievers, kind of unknowingly. That's it's amazing.
Well, there you go. Like if I was a viewer of this right now, and obviously those 2 other guys that came before me, Weatherford and Itzler, let me tell you, I look up to those guys, awesome dudes. Weatherford's been a coaching client of mine before, and holy hell, like, success leaves clues. And if you got 3 dudes telling you the same thing, like, that might be a message that it's time to start suffering physically. Like, put yourself under pressure, folks.
Amen, baby. Last question here. I just want to ask you. So talk to me. I know you had an important mentor that came into your life early and kind of helped guide you. Talk to me about that. Let's kind of just visit that for a minute and talk about the value of mentorships, how important a role this plays, not only in your journey, but, we all know many entrepreneurs that will all kind of tell a very similar story, right? I clearly will. So let's talk about your story here about mentorship.
So I talk about him in the book, in my book, Man Up. And so when I was a personal trainer working at LA Fitness, I was making like $12 an hour, and I had a handful of personal training clients. And then at night, I worked at Disneyland as a busboy and a fry cook to make ends meet. And then on the weekends, I was a bouncer at a gay bar because the gay bar paid more than the straight bar. That's the only reason why. Nothing freaky here. In case that was going to be a follow-up question, I just come out the gate with it.
Exactly. Let's just kill that.
Yeah. So anyway, having said that, I was griping to one of my personal training clients. His name is Jim Franco, about why I'm so tired. It's a Monday morning. I was working all weekend on these side jobs. And he goes, why don't you open up your own personal training studio? I go, Jim, I don't have the money to. I'm not fortunate enough to have the money. He goes, well, you know, you don't have the resources, but why don't you get resourceful? Like, every one of your clients are probably doing well financially if we can afford to hire you as a personal trainer, or at least pay the trainer. Yeah. And so I found him starting to coach me in between workout sessions. And so he would work out with me 3 days a week. I would train him, but right before the workout started, right after the workout started, he would impart a little bit of message and a little bit of wisdom. And he would bring a Brian Tracy cassette tape, a Tom Hopkins cassette tape. Then it was like, read this book from Jay Abraham. I still remember it. Get everything you can from all you got. And I was so young and ignorant. And I said, these are real estate sales. Like Tom Hopkins, that's real estate sales. He goes, just when he says real estate, just hear fitness. Okay. I'm like, okay. And it was a curmudgeon older guy. So he didn't have a lot of tolerance for my young bullshit, you know? Right. And Jim was mentoring me unbeknownst to me. And what became like this reluctant, like, okay, fine, I'll read that book. Okay, fine, I'll listen to that cassette tape, Jim, became this thing where I developed mentally, emotionally. I became more confident about, yeah, I can start a business. And I can start asking clients for money, and they can become investors in my business. And I opened up Premier Results, my personal training studio in San Diego, right in your neck of the woods. And soon it became 5 personal training studios. And then a big brand came through and bought me out. But had I not had that mentor, that would have taken me probably an extra 5 to 10 years of growth. So what a mentor did for me, and I was reluctant in the beginning and resistant. They help you time collapse. They've already been where you are. They know what it takes, and they're going to help you time collapse and avoid the frustrations and mistakes and just get to the outcome faster. So what I realized back then was I wasn't paying Jim. Then I go, well, what if I actually start paying mentors? So as soon as I could start affording it, I was getting mentors. I've been mentored by Joe Polish, Dan Kennedy, Frank Kern, who's you name it, Dean Graziosi. Like, I bought coaching from everybody under the sun, and there's not a person I didn't learn something from. I've even bought coaching from really bad coaches, and instead of looking at it as though I got ripped off, I was like, what is the lesson in this? How did they market to me and close me that I was able to pay them the money without fact checking first? Because there's still something I could learn there, and I still had a takeaway that I could apply in my business. But dude, mentorship has been priceless to me. And these days, I still have mentors. Now they're speaking coaches. They teach me how to speak better, articulate a message, draw a word picture, because I speak on stage like your event to audiences, and I want to be able to articulate a message better. So mentors just help you time collapse, and you're paying for speed.
Yeah, it's interesting. Our stories are very similar. That when you step, I was very reluctant when my mentor was bringing me along. I was kind of the same guy, right? I didn't realize I was kind of being mentored along the way until I looked up and gained a little perspective and looked back. I'm like, holy shit, this is a guy, I can see it now clearly. I was able to connect those dots. And then once you realize it, then you kind of flip the script. I'm like, well, shit, I got to make that investment. So I've been the same way, whether it's been Kern or Roland or all these other guys that I've paid over the years to mentor me and get me, or even when I, all the speaking I do, getting a speaking coach, right? I mean, if you want to get the result faster and just get, if you're that guy or girl that when you go to Disneyland or Disney World or whatever, right, you clearly know that there is a price you can pay to get that VIP treatment, to get to the head of the line. I want to get the result. I don't want to stand in 3 hours. If that's you, then you're clearly, you understand the value of like Bedros said, collapsing time. And I cannot stress enough to you guys of how important that can be in your career, especially, by the way, in times like these. And I don't even need, educate yourself right now. Reach out to people. Figure out how to get the most benefit out of this time and this opportunity you have versus sitting on your fat ass and not doing shit. There is no way you should be in that mindset. Certainly not after watching all of these, but there's no way that can be the outcome that is intended for this. You have to improve.
Yeah. Yeah. How unfortunate would it be that if life was just mediocre, That if you played your cards right, you're going to have 100 years on this planet. And to live just a life of mediocrity is so sad and unfortunate to me. I refuse that. It will not happen to me.
Yeah, literally one of the brands we own, mediocrity is the enemy. And that's exactly what I totally believe it. I mean, there's just no point in being fucking average at all. So guys, if you've got any questions for Bedros, go into the comment section and type them in. Otherwise, I'm going to be really respectful of your time here, brother, and let you go. I know you've got you're moving and shaking and got to get back to the family and everything else, and I want to be really respectful of it.
Well, I do appreciate it.
Let me just see here real quick if anybody's coming in with questions. We got a delay, so Bedros, hang out with me for 1 second. Just make sure that we.
Sure.
I think we're good, brother. Hey, dude, I cannot thank you enough. I know that I know you carved this time out for me. I know you cashed in a favor here, and it really means a lot to me. I appreciate you showing up.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it, and thank you to your tribe. Take care.
Thanks, brother. Take care. Guys, let him hear you. Go ahead and put thank you in the comments, and I'll make sure that he gets all your well wishes. Take care, brother.